just to give you an update of where we are at with the Mustang, which I'm also naming Frankenstein because of how many different pieces were used from different cars to put this thing together. Here's all the junk just in the rocker panel area that I had to cut off. And as we come around here, other than that small piece of wheelhouse right there, all of this is from the rocker panel. All of this. This is what was pretty much holding this car together. We do have a really nice trunk drop. Surprise there. Well, as you can see though, I do have the wheelhouse mocked in place. I'm getting ready to put the inner rocker on it. Well, actually, at least just mock it in place so I can see what else I have to do. If you followed my previous videos, you've probably seen this. Might get a better view here. I cleaned it up a bit. You can kind of see how bad this is. I have to rebuild this entire area here. I have to rebuild a section of the floor. I have to make a different lip for here. As you can see, this was never welded down here. This was never welded to the rocker panel. And as I had mentioned, that's 14 inches of metal not welded right underneath your butt. Not good. And we keep moving forward here. We actually have, if you watched any previous videos, if not, we have a floor pan from a different Mustang installed in this car, and then at some point in the past we have another floor pan. There's a seam in there, a replacement patch, and you can tell because this metal is almost like new. And as we come forward, you can see the A-pillar. If you look real close, right about here, and it follows all the way through, goes across here and around here. This lower section was replaced. Most likely when it was in an accident, which is why it got a rocker panel from a different car and so on. You can see I still have some more work to do. There's still some rust up in here. I have to pretty much make this whole piece down here and down in here. This is the one area where Ford did a really good job of welding it. There were a lot of spot welds through here, and even though I drilled them out, as you can see, there were some of them that just wouldn't go, so I'll also end up refabricating this whole piece here. We'll come around to the inside. What do we see right here? Oh, it's a gap. So let's just fill this gap in a corner with seam sealer. It ain't gonna matter. I see this way too often. This car is the proverbial can of worms. Every time I remove a piece, we end up finding more and more and more. So what I'll do is I'll get this inner rocker mocked up, just sitting in place so I can see what metal I have to fabricate in here, just so that I can attach this new panel. And then after that, we'll attach our brand new rocker panel. And then after the rocker panel is installed and the wheelhouse is installed, we can attach the quarter panel. So as you can see, we got a lot of work to do. And this car just keeps on coming. As you can see, we now have the rocker panel mocked in position. The door is hung back on the car. And I'm in the process of doing panel pre-fitment to find out what other areas of this car are still screwed up and what areas of the brand new panels weren't really manufactured properly. And a perfect example would be this. If you look across the car there, you look down below the tape, that big hole you see is the seat belt. That's the anchor point for the seat belt. And the measurement from the top of the rocker to the center of that seat mount, seat belt mount, is 2 3/4 inches. Well, on my brand new panel, as we swing around in here, and hopefully you guys can see it, you can clearly see I've already wrote on there that I need to move that up 1 inch. Just want to show you guys that even though they make brand new panels, that does not mean they fit. There's usually a lot of work to make brand new panels fit a car. unless you're buying them straight from the manufacturer, you get what you get. And as we move over here, here's the quarter skin, actually the quarter panel. I kind of got to do the same thing here. I don't know if they can pick it up, but down inside here, it's not going to focus for me. Anyway, down in that lip, there you go. You can kind of see my scribe line in there. You can follow that line all the way down. This piece here is actually down almost 1/4 of an inch. So to try to put this on the car, you would never get anything else to line up. That cove area would never line up with the door. You could never adjust the door to get things, to get the body lines where they're supposed to be. So just another example of, even though they make these parts, it takes a lot of work sometimes to get these things to fit in the car. Now I've already had this on the car probably 4 times already, just to find out that, yes, that is definitely too long, because I had to move so much around on the car due to accident damage and poor repair work. And here's an example here. As we get back in this corner, you can kind of see this is all cracked up here. This is split. There's brazing. It's just really beat up, rusted, blobs of weld. There's holes. There's a lot going on back here. I'm going to have to fix this. Move slightly forward to the rear window filler. Again, this was all covered with lead. And you can see brazing in here. This is completely pulled away. Holes, all of this has to be rebuilt. We come back around here. The rocker panel itself, when I close the door, it lines up really well. You can see that it's got a nice even gap. That's probably the home position for this new panel. But that doesn't mean this new panel is ready to go on the car. There's still a lot of work to do to get this on here. People often wonder why this stuff is so expensive. Why is it so expensive to restore a car? I don't understand. They make these parts brand new, and they should fit right on. Well, they fit, but they don't. They may go on the car, but they're not right. I figure I probably have, in the removal of the old quarter panel, which is sitting way over there, pre-fitting that, and everything you see here, removal and pre-fit, I have over 40 hours just in what you see here. And I guarantee you, by the time I'm done, to fix all the rust, to fix all the damaged areas, and fabricate things that should have been fixed right the first time, this never should have happened, I bet you I'm going to have 200 hours. You know, you look down in here, you can see the floor pan is just, it's just a mess. There's nothing attached. This was again filled with epoxy and mesh tape. So 200 hours. Think about that. 200 hours to repair something that could have been repaired quite easily the first time around. But that didn't happen. And that's just in one side of the car. We still have that side of the car to go yet. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get this side all finished up, welded up, and I'll keep you guys updated along the way as we go. But once this whole side is back together, I'm going to tally up the hours and let you guys know where we're at. And then I'm going to call the customer in and let him know where we're at. And then we're going to see if we're even going to attempt to tackle the other side. This is extremely expensive. A good restoration shop is going to charge anywhere from $65 to $125, some shops as much as $150 an hour. 200 hours. Do the math on that one, guys. That's why this stuff is not cheap. Anyway, I'm going to get back to work here. We'll see how far we can get for the rest of the day here. I'm hoping by the end of the day to get at least everything completely mocked up, clamped in place, and acceptable to where I can start marking and installing my clecos for finish welding. We'll see how that goes.